All right, everybody, welcome back. We're the Two Talking Fools. And as you remember, we talked about our passion project that we are very excited to launch, and we're doing that today.
Very excited.
Our first interview is with none other than Barbara Frassinelli. And if you are from our town, you know that the Frassinelli name is embedded here. 17 grandchildren. How many children? Six kids, a lot of history. And we're sitting down with Barbara today to talk about all things family, community, Stafford.
Huge contributions to this.
Huge contributions. So without further ado, Barbara, welcome. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having us. It really is an honor to be sitting.
I guess I want to start off, Barbara. Can you tell us about the family and how you got here to Stafford?
Well, I was born in Maine, 3 miles from Canada, and my dad was looking for work, and Pratt & Whitney was hiring at that time. So we moved down here to Stafford Springs. We bought a house, and that was my beginning introduction to the Frassinellis. Before I knew my husband, I knew his grandmother, his father, just because his father drove the bus that picked me up and took me to school. And his grandmother lived, just across the street from us. And so before I knew him, we moved here, as I said, because we needed the work. So
I know a lot of people from Maine came down for work at that time.
Yes,
many parts of Maine. So you were up in the county.
Way 3 miles from Canada.
Wow,
I was born in Presque Isle.
So you knew the Frassinellis. You came down to Stafford. When did you meet your husband? When did you marry your husband, I should say?
In 1960, January 2nd, 1960. Yeah.
Wow.
But we had gone to school together. He was 2 years ahead of me. It was Witt School.
Yep.
Was our high school.
Yep.
And it had 7th and 8th grade. And when I came down, I was in 7th grade. And he was in the high school part. And when they punished them, they'd send them down to the 7th and 8th grade. and the kids that I was with knew that I thought he was kind of huge, and he hated it, of course, So, but yeah, and then we, the group of us in high school, because mostly that's where I hung out with the high school kids. We were. Like not cliques, but groups that would go like for the weekend. We'd go to somebody's house, listen to music, dance, and that kind of thing. And he was always with someone else, and I was with, his friends.
That's how it happened.
That's how it happened. Yeah.
I love that. Now, obviously, you guys had met at the Witt School, which I absolutely love. I remember going to the Witt School back in the day and painting it before they had closed it, which is really sad. Tell us a little bit about what it's meant to raise 6 kids here in Stafford.
In the beginning, when we got married and we had our first son here a week after we moved into this house, I said, it's fine. The school system is good. We'll certainly check it out and make sure that it's all good. And Gordon said, we're not going anywhere. He was born here, and there was no question in his mind all of that time. So we've been in this house for 65 years. Yeah.
65 years.
Yeah. So that's, we just decided that our family is within miles of us, except our second son, Michael, he teaches in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And so he's an hour and 10 minutes away. But everyone else, our other son lives in Wellington, and everyone else is in Stafford Springs. So
they're close.
Yeah, they're very, very close. And that's all I cared about, that they just loved each other, because so many families, are just not. I mean, our son Michael is an artist, and he went to California, and he said everyone there hated their families.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't believe that, he had brothers that he loved.
Right. Family that he loved.
sisters.
most important thing, one of the most important things to teach your kids growing up is you always have each other. So I
Yeah,
love
as a
that.
matter of fact, when the
Yeah.
kids would fight, because they're boys, they
Yeah.
would just, and that I would cry, and then I would say, the most important thing is that you just love each other. And they do.
That's
They do.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
They're
wonderful.
awesome.
Will you say that to your girls too?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's
At
critical.
the end of the day, they always have to stick together.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the time.
It's
Yeah.
critical. So
I love that.
I mean, another interesting fact about your family too is your husband's father is Pop Frassinelli.
yes, yeah.
I mean,
He was
Lieutenant
Lieutenant
Governor.
Governor,
I mean,
yeah.
that's huge. That really was a big thing to have somebody from Stafford
Yeah.
put us on the map like that, so to speak.
Well, he was the second. The first Lieutenant Governor was 17 or 1800. And, the first one. It's all down in the library or
Yeah.
one of those. But yeah, so he was first selectman. He was commissioner of consumer protection. He was the first when they developed that program for the state. Commissioner of Consumer Protection, he was first, and then he became Lieutenant Governor. So,
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's a pretty amazing accomplishment to get to
yes,
that.
yeah, and it's interesting because his parents came over here with their son, who was 5, and she was pregnant for 2 young.
Oh my God.
He was born here in Stafford Springs.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would have been when. I'm trying to think date wise. If he was born Johnson or the old hospital.
Oh, the old, definitely.
That's-
Because I worked in the old hospital when they had to build a new one. I went to work finally because normally I'm a nurse.
Mhm.
So I worked mother's hours at the old hospital, which was 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock, which is unheard of now, of course.
Yeah.
And then they built a new one. And in 1975, my daughter was almost 2, and I went there, and we were still moving furniture and patients from the old hospital.
Oh my
Really?
God.
Yeah. So I was there the whole entire time.
During that transition.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. So Tilio was, he was born the first, of his family born in the United States. So.
Could you kind of talk about, or what you remember about Stafford back in the day when Main Street used to have McCormick's and it used to be,
Oh boy, yes, we did.
could you just take us
Take us
some
back a
little
little bit.
stores?
Well, we
or-
had where the post office is now was Pachine's, and that was like a malt shop,
Okay.
and they had sandwiches and things. They had jukebox. They had places to sit, and we used to go down and dance there at Pachine's. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was a great. Deke Pacine was the owner, and he was so, he loved the kids, and all of us would just crowd down there after school almost every day.
Ugh,
Yeah.
Could you imagine if we had a place like that now?
such sense of community, like
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Yep. And then of course we had the '55 flood, which changed a lot of the things on Main Street. There used to be an A&P store where the town hall is now. Their parking lot was an A&P store, grocery store.
Yeah.
And it's on a hill, so everything we had on the lower part, like where the town hall is and the police station and the Congregational Church, had a pharmacy, a jewelry store, a clothing store, and up above we had the same thing. We had another jewelry store up there. We had a pharmacy up there. We had,
Can you imagine?
no.
We have to make a trip to the historical
We're
society to
living
get
in the
some
we're living in the
pictures.
wrong
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, you
I
really.
think we need to. You and I need to kind of just.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
do.
time travel.
You really do. It was a fabulous place, and where the gas station is across from the old library.
Yes.
It's now the
Eagle Mark.
historical.
Oh
you know,
yes.
So
yes.
Eagle Mark.
Yep.
Well, on that hill that you see was the big Stafford. It was called Stafford. It was a big hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, Stafford Inn. No, I forgot now what it was called, and that actually burned down. I think in the 50s. You know, I mean that was huge up there. So, um, and now there's a factory there that I think they create things at the I've forgotten what they call them. My girlfriend
Is it
works
Burlington
there.
nameplate? No.
No,
No, is it Hobbs Medical?
yes, Hobbs
Oh,
Medical,
okay.
and that house that's right there, which it's a washer dryer
Yes.
underneath. That used to be,
Shamrock.
and that used to be the fire station. I mean, the firemen lived up above, and that was a place that they had
Wow.
they had the firemen.
I feel like we need to redo
You
another
really
like
do.
map of Stafford
Right.
from Mrs. Frassinelli's.
Like that time.
Sorry, Barbara.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to
Yeah.
get that all straight
Yeah.
because you know it's just.
Yeah.
But I was here during that time because we moved down in 1950, 51. So all of that has changed, you know, at this point. That's right. Matter of fact, we have a game called Staffordopoly.
Yes.
I have one.
I
And
do too.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
And
got one.
and
Yeah.
that tells you a lot too. What was on Main Street? So it's
I
yeah.
haven't opened it yet though.
No, I haven't either.
I know it's still in the box, Barbara.
Oh, you should take a look. It's really
Yeah.
fun because right now we're it's a Chinese store. It was, you know, and next to that was the pharmacy. Was but there was a clothing store, a men's clothing store, and I can't remember the name now. See,
That's
you should have
okay.
gotten me 20 years ago.
Oh, this is
My brain was better.
interesting.
And you when you walked into the store, and it was a big set of stairs, and you could go either way. You know, like in the old Southern mansions kind of thing.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
a second floor. That there was a haberdashery there. There was a Jewish man down the road. No, yeah, Irwin McPoland's, right next to the uh, church. Irwin Poland's had a dress shop,
Okay.
and let's see, I think the National 5 and 10
The National.
was right there next to that.
This is so sad.
It is.
I feel like we missed out on a lot.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really was. It really was awesome. Yeah, and I worked up in the pharmacy. It was up higher. It was an old pharmacist, and I've forgotten his name now too. When I was going to high school, he had a counter, you know, that we could serve milkshakes and stuff like that. So I worked there and we had here we go. We're all over.
No,
This is exactly what it's meant for.
And I worked also. I had a job in G Fox, Hartford,
Yeah. I remember the multi.
and Brown Thompson's. And I used to take a bus from Stafford Springs. They had a bus then, would take us to Hartford.
Really?
And I would go there, and I went to the place that I loved. I spent a lot of time there. I'll think of it in a minute. And I worked, like I said, I worked in Hartford and
Wow.
part time. So
Wow, to think a bus went from Stafford to Hartford at that time.
it did.
That's
It
pretty
was
amazing.
awesome. It was awesome. Yeah, because I mean, none of us really drove. You know, I mean, we drove, but we didn't have cars.
Right.
You know, so yeah. And I walked a lot too. We moved a couple of places in Stafford Springs from that house. Unfortunately, my father trusted the landlord or the guy he bought the house from. And when he died, his son took over, and my father didn't. It was a handshake thing, and he didn't keep all receipts or anything like that, so we lost that house. So we had to move from there. And then at one point, we lived across the street from the West Stafford School in Hanson's, up over Hanson's garage there. They had an apartment, and we lived there for a while. That's actually when I started going to nursing school. So And then my parents moved out of town to Hazardville and then Weathersfield, and
Wow.
but yeah,
Your parents, they
yeah,
Yeah.
from place to place.
Yeah.
They looking. Well, he worked in the same place, but we were looking always for because she took in foster kids, and we didn't have enough kids of our own. Of course, I was in high school, and I said we need to take foster kids besides. So I was not sweet. So,
I understand my mom was a foster parent.
is that
Yep.
yeah?
I remember, and when I was in high school.
Yeah. Well, and they were sweet too.
Yeah,
With Louie and
absolutely.
Eddie. Louie and Eddie, I remember them so
Wow.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're very sweet kids. I mean, we spent more money on them than you ever earned. You know what I mean?
Right, for what you get.
No.
If
Yeah.
you're doing it for the right reasons, then yes, you
Yeah,
end
and
up doing that.
and
It's true.
that's what they.
Yeah.
And when we had that house, actually, we had my parents had friends who either lost his job or no, he didn't lose his job, but he lost his apartment. And so we fixed one of the big rooms in our house in that on West Main Street, and they moved in there with their daughter. So we had that family. We had the foster kids. I was in high school not loving any of it, because I was the baby, oldest of the. I had 5 brothers and
Big family.
yeah. And my sister was born across from West Stafford School, so she was the 6th one. And it's all the time I was, related, not related, but knew the Frassinellis at that point. When we lived in that house, when we first moved there, there's a certain place where you have to take the bus and then you can't take the bus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Mr. Frassinelli always picked me up, even though I wasn't, I wasn't supposed to be picked up.
Right.
Yeah.
But we love to walk anyway. I mean, we walked all the time. It's just like I never cared about. We had one car in our family, of course.
Yeah.
And never cared about driving at all ever. Walked everywhere. So. Yeah. And like I said, we knew his grandmother, Gordon's grandmother, who lived, diagonally, across the street. And my mother was always like, when she moved in, she made sure she knew the neighbors and, so yeah, they were good friends. So on his mother's side, we knew her. And then I knew Mr. Frassinelli from the bus company because he owned the bus company at that point.
One thing you brought up is getting to know your neighbors
Oh,
and things
absolutely.
like that. That's like a lost art.
It
Yeah.
is.
It is.
It is. It
Now
absolutely.
you move and I don't know who the new people are in front of me. I'm not even going to sit there and pretend. That's sad. Back in the day, you used
Yes.
to visit your neighbors or at night
Yeah.
after dinner, go out and see
Yep.
them. And I love that
Yeah.
about the older times.
Yeah, my mother was always like that. My grandmother was like that too, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel, we're missing that.
We're definitely missing that. What do you think, like, as far as, and I don't want to say necessarily Stafford, but I mean, you had mentioned this on an episode. What do you think is the reasoning behind why people have stopped getting to know your neighbor?
I don't
Talk
know.
about a beautiful, simple time.
That's a good question,
you know?
Shaba.
I think we're afraid. I think, we're afraid to, for rejection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to go ahead and knock on somebody's door and, say, well, I just moved in and, I think we're really afraid. We never used to be. I mean, during World War II, of course, everybody loved everybody, at least in our towns, where we lived. But, yeah, I think so. I think and there fewer and fewer people go to church now.
Yes.
It's true.
And you would meet a lot of, friends or neighbors or people who would talk to you about what's going on in town and, who you could go and see or your doctor or whatever. So I think all of that, of course, now we're not going to talk about that
Yeah.
We're not, you know, I mean, I don't know where you are, but it doesn't matter. We're not talking about it.
No, I know.
That's how we are too. Yeah, that's how
Hey,
we
boy.
say nope,
Yeah,
nope.
because then my blood pressure will go right through the roof.
You know what? We don't need any of that.
Yeah, we don't need that. Yeah,
Sir,
we don't want that.
No.
Just,
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just ask her?
Yeah.
You mentioned one thing. You said during World War II it was.
Yeah.
You said everybody was. Was everybody just close then because of the war, or was it just that time?
I don't know, but my grandmother, as I said, she had a little nursing home. Of course, you know, I loved nursing anyway. I mean, but I was 9 years old, wasn't supposed to see my birthing in that birthing room. They weren't paying attention to me. But I was peeking in
to see what's going on.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that home, we were Fort Fairfield.
Yeah.
And Presque Isle, and we didn't. I don't think we had Caribou for a long time. Limestone Air Force Base, but she had at least six soldiers come, and every Sunday, and she'd go out back, get a couple of hens, chop their heads off, fix them for dinner, and feed those. Some of them came back, some of them didn't come back, but they were there every Sunday as long as they were stationed there. World War II. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was awesome. We have pictures too of them. So it was great. We're just all good friends, and most of my aunts were married. A couple of them were not. So they hook up, you know. We say hook up, but it's not the same as hook up now.
No.
Ew, you know, my grandfather was a deacon and number one, and we were about like 4 houses from the church, you know. So, you know, but yeah, so my faith and everything really. My grandmother's house was the place that our family went when my dad was looking for work. You know, so we spent a lot of time with in my grandmother's home. So yeah, and I think everybody was for the war, at least in our town.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so, but that's a piece of it.
Wow.
Now, I know you were saying previously that, you know, especially like a lot of small towns like Stafford, everybody was very close knit. Everybody was very tight, especially during the war. What do you think that, you know, what do you think that about some of the misconceptions that there could be about small towns like Stafford, whether it was then or even now?
Oh yeah, when I moved here, of course I was from a small town.
Yeah.
You know, so I waved at everybody, and then I heard after, well, she's pretty fast, you know, and loose, you know.
From you, because you were waving at me?
Yeah. Wave, hello, you know, it's just like,
Just trying to be friendly.
you know, that's it. But I can tell you that it was Stafford in some ways, though, because we had friends that, you know, lived next to my in-laws, and she was from, the family was from New York, and she said, and the son became a policeman and everything, but she said she was never happy here because of the way that people treated her. I mean, I didn't know that because I grew up, you know, I mean, I was 12, I would have been 13 that year with the town, so I didn't. But see, I mean, like my grandmother and my mother, we were strong women.
Yeah.
So when they would, you know, tell stories about, you know, girls that were, you know, don't talk to me because you guys lie, you know,
Right.
You guys lie. So I can't tell, you know, and, you know, I befriended those kids because I said, you know, you can't trust them, you know, when they're young, young boys, you know, they might brag about something. And I said, shut up. I don't want to hear it, you know.
That's right.
But that's because we were, like I said, I came from strong women, so that didn't bother me at all. That's like, even when we had our family meetings and our meals, because we ate meals together, our whole family, my children and all, and the boys would start giggling or talking about the girls and said, don't even go there. Because, and I would say, because you're beautiful, and they were gorgeous too, you have a responsibility, for standing up for those who are not. You know what I mean? And so I don't want to hear I don't want to hear you talking about any girls at all. And my grandson, too, I said, he started dating. He'll be 16 in June. And I said, don't you ever let me hear you say a bad word or allow someone in your company, like one of your buddies, because they like to say things, you don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
You cannot do that because that person may never know that, but it hurts you.
Yeah.
Because it hurts you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
on and on I go.
No, I think that's a beautiful lesson
Yeah.
to teach the kids,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's wonderful.
It was important to me anyway. Of course, my grandmother's, the way like I said, she's very faith-filled. Not sure what that was, but she was very faith-filled, and she used to say to me when I started, because I was young, and we went with the kids that were our same age, but she said, always say to yourself, wherever you go, say, if Jesus came now, would I be ashamed? Would I want him to find me here in this place?
Yeah.
And that was her mantra.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. She was beautiful.
So that kind of makes me think of a question that I wanted to ask you regarding how much your family has given to the community, how involved your family has been within the community. What exactly do you think has pushed them to, or not pushed them, but has inspired them to contribute so much to Stafford in a multitude of different ways? You have a son that's doing a phenomenal job as athletic director. You have a son that was first selectman. What do you think, inspired them to want to give back to the community that they grew up in?
I think because of their father and their grandfather, they were active in politics. They wanted things to be done right, and that was always one thing that the family was concerned about, which kind of bothered me, is like you have to remember your name. That's important, And I used to say to my husband, the name is fine, but that's not the critical thing. I mean, we need our children to be aware and responsible as adults, not just because their name is Frassinelli, because a lot of people thought we had all kinds of money. I said, hey, you got 6 kids, 3 of them in college at the same time. You think we have any money in the bank? I don't think so, It's true, but they still do. And I tell you, my father-in-law, he, unlike my husband, who's a little more, he wasn't one that would try something unless he could do it well,
Yep.
And that's probably because the oldest son or whatever. But his father, he did all kinds of things. I mean, when he was young, he was a song and dance man on the stage. He just was, amazing. And he in the early 50s, bought this piece of land, and it was a swamp because the guy who owned this property all the way down sold the topsoil off. So it was really a swamp, because I think it's, at least 4 feet of topsoil he sold. So my father-in-law bought it. I'm not sure how much. I should have gotten the history of of the details, and he brought 16 houses in on the back of a truck, from Manchester. I think I want to say they were 500 each, but maybe less than that. I'm not sure. But he put under, cement blocks underneath. And so people thought, oh, it's going to be a dump down there. But then it turned out to be a lovely, lovely place.
Beautiful.
And
Yes.
I planted the trees at each house, at one point, and it was great. And he called it West. They thought it would be, Frassinelli's Folly or something, and he called it West End Street. And he added. They were really small. The kitchen was very small, so he added on each time so that they would have a bigger kitchen and all. And I can tell you the names in Stafford Springs that rented down here over all those years, Fontanella's, Pachota's, all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them are rented at different times, preparing, to buy their own home or because the rent was what, $50 a month or,
Sure.
$100 a month. And even with that though, you get some who didn't pay and they would move out in the middle of the night. Of course. And of course we lived here. So Gordon, when his dad traveled or whatever, he would be the landlord and he hated it. He absolutely hated it. He hated to charge him. He hated to anything, But yeah, so we were, for the most part, he and I were both landlords,
Lovely job.
That's not good. That's not good. But they were good. Mostly they were good tenants. They were very good tenants, And it was just a cheaper way to live until they saved enough money to buy their own home or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
That's the kind of foresight that he had about a lot of things. He and a friend, when they were younger, much younger, built a plane and flew it off, off Munson Road. There's a pond up there. I think it maybe made the height, but then it went down. It's still there somewhere. Oh yeah. Oh, he would try anything, I tell you. And he and Gordon and his brother David, who lived next door, would be. Tilio would give him buckets of nails, and they'd straighten them out. And he would go to the dump. Mr. Frassinelli would go to the dump with one load and come back with two. But he had something in mind, and he was very bright, very bright.
Wow.
Yeah, he was.
Shopper, we should go. Maybe one day we'll get our muck boots on and we'll go look for this site, this crash site. We'll go look for it.
What is that called? It's my daughter lives up that way too. I've forgotten what that's called, that pond. But anyway.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
but
about.
it's right there. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for the younger generation growing up in Stafford? And I guess that really goes for the younger generation in general. Do you have any advice?
Gosh, I don't, I'm not that wise. I just think if you're true to yourself, if you want something and work hard enough, I know with now what we have up there leading us, it does not always work, but yeah. And for God's sakes, get out there and do something for other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it really makes you better, even though that person might not appreciate it. I know when my husband died, we got letters from people that said, "You're Gordon, Mr. Fraz." They called him Mr. Fraz. Mr. Fraz heard that I was having trouble at Christmas time, and he left me $100, which we could not afford. I can tell you right now, because when we came home from the army in March of '61, he was still making only $5,000 a month, and he connected with the state and took the tests, and because it's Fort Benjamin Harrison in Indiana where he was stationed when we got married and lived out there for a year and a half. He was in finance there too, so he fit well into the state financial. So, yeah, we were pinching pennies. We loved saving. We weren't big spenders or anything anyway. But then we started having the children, and then we added and added. I tell you the truth, from this beam over all the way across the house, which is 50 feet, all that way. I was pregnant for Maria in 73, and Gordon said, you know, we can put the boys downstairs and, make beds, twin beds or whatever down there. And I said, and no, we're having I thought she was a boy. I thought I was going to have all sons, which was fine with me. So I said, no, we're going to add on. And he doubled the house actually for $16,000.
Really?
$16,000 in 73.
Oh,
I was gonna say that's unheard of.
$16,000.
Maybe a little bit of wood now here or there.
yeah.
No.
Demo now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, of course, because I had the boys all this time in one bathroom, I said, I want a urinal. And we do. We have a urinal.
That was smart.
That's brilliant.
That's smart.
That's brilliant.
I mean, because, yeah. So, yeah. We've had experiences in this house. I don't know what's going to happen to it after I go. And my kids said, somebody else is going to move in here. One of us. And I said, good luck with that. I mean, we put 13 leaves in this table, which goes
13 leaves.
Yeah, and we from the kitchen to here to seat 31 of us. Yeah.
Oh my goodness graciousness! How much prep work is that? Or does everybody just?
Well, I usually do. I get a ham, and then I debone a couple of turkeys because my sister-in-law who was married to a chef, so he showed me how to debone the turkey. So that's what primarily I do, and then everyone else makes everything. And now they don't want me to do anything.
They don't want you to do anything.
And I said, I'm the boss of you.
Yes.
So, yeah, and it's really good. It's really good. And like Christmas time, we used to do the whole thing too. But last Christmas, of course, Gordon was gone. But they've decided to make it, just not the big turkey and all of the seats.
Yeah.
Because we have, in that room you can see the picture of us sitting down at the 31 of us seating.
I can't even imagine what that's like. I mean,
you have to go in just in the other room. It's we've got pictures on the door when he was ill for so long. We loved those pictures of us, But yeah, there's several pictures of yes, like I said, 31. But I mean they're all so careful with me. They're all so good, They're also available, Sometimes that's harder because, there's certain things I want to do.
Yeah.
I know I have restrictions and I'm very careful. I'm 88. I'm not stupid,
But you're sharp though.
Boy,
You're sharp 88 though.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll be 89 in 3 months, so.
Good for you.
You're definitely very sharp.
Well, my grandparents were 95 and 97.
Very strong lineage you come from.
Strong.
Yep.
So hopefully, if I'm smart enough to pay attention. Yeah. So.
What do you hope? If you could give your grandchildren something, what do you hope that you could leave behind as far as like a lesson that you want them to always remember?
I think the lessons that they've learned already, are are ingrained. Kindness, responsibility, all of those things they do now automatically with strangers as well as family.
Yeah.
Family's very important, as always been. And I think if they just continue doing that's all that's really important to me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it really And they do. Well, like I said, they really are. They're so kind. They're uh, door openers. They're, I could hold my hand when I'm someplace that they think they need, you know. So, I mean, I like to be independent, but I understand how important that is to them as well, So, yeah.
I'll tell you, the legacy that you have with your family, you have a wonderful family.
I
You
know.
do.
I'm blessed to know many of them, and
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
I think they're terrific, and I think your family's wonderful. What a legacy you have for to the generations to come that will be here in Stafford or whatever.
Absolutely.
It's such a strong family, but that's something that you and your husband, and
Yeah.
you guys created that. It's
I think we did, and I think the important thing is that I, I almost think we loved each other to the end. But I think thinking about where I came from and moving to Stafford Springs, it was almost, and the way I became familiar,
Yep.
it's almost um, predestined kind of thing, because all through high school, I was really, for the most part, off and on dating his friend, you know. Um, and when I graduated, went down to Deeks for Jeans with my torch,
Yeah.
the book, and I said to him, would you sign my torch? And he wrote this lovely thing. And I said, why didn't you ask me out in high school? And he said,
A woman
because-
after my own heart.
because you were Jack's girlfriend. And I said, and not all the time. Yeah. But he loved you. And I wasn't. And I said, well, and from then on we dated. And then.
Good for you.
What a gentleman,
Yes.
too.
What a gentleman.
too, for also not.
Yes, but you know what? Good for her.
I
For
love
speaking
that.
her mind. I love it.
But he was also a poet. And he also and always got the right card, even when he lost his vision in 2001. He would send Maria to the pharmacy and say, "Read me some cards, and I'll tell you which one." It's true.
If your guy's not doing that, I don't know. You got the wrong one.
Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore.
No,
That's precious.
it's always good. Yeah.
We were
Good
The
to each
sweetest
other.
thing I've ever heard.
You were good to each other.
We were good
You
to
were
each
good.
other.
Yep.
Yeah.
You made a great team.
Yeah.
You were a great team,
Yeah.
a great family, and
Yeah.
Beautiful legacy.
it's just so apparent sitting in your house, like with all the photos around. It's
Oh my
just
goodness, it's so
family is the
warm.
focal
I
point
love
here.
it. I love it. Yeah.
Do you have I don't know, I maybe we end with this, but is there anything you would like to say to the people of Stafford? Is there anything you would like to say that you'd like to see in the future of this town? As a family that's given back so much, is there anything you could lasting words?
That's a hard thing. Really, the hard thing. Maybe Gordon would be much better at that than me, because the town has given us a lot. It's given us a lot, and so I think for each one of us, we have to choose to give back, and that's really critical. They don't. I'm a faith-filled person, and I think that's critical. And I'm sorry that the young people, are not connected to a faith. These days, I think, of course, I was able to stay home. I mean, I worked like part-time nursing,
Yes.
but I was always able to be home. And I think that's critical. I'm sorry. Because so many kids now, and for many years actually, have been brought up by the television.
Yep.
And now they're phones.
Yes, I
and
agree.
Absolutely.
social media has just killed us.
Yeah.
It really, really killed us. I'm glad to see now, and John's with the education department. So they're taking the phones, and it's funny because the kids say it's a good thing.
I hear them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if a mother had said you can't use your phone, that would be different. But as long as everyone else is doing it,
That's fine.
it's good.
That's right.
And they were talking and they were
Communicating. They
interacting.
know how to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I think that's the most important thing, communication and kindness.
Yeah.
You just really, if you cannot be kind to yourself, you can't be kind to anyone else. But you need to know that. But I think families so easily quit on each other. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They do. They quit on each other. Divorce is like, well, I'll get married and in 2 years I can always leave it.
Right.
No commitment.
No commitment. No nothing.
So that's kind of. So I don't have any big questions to give to anybody, but I can tell you right now, it's important.
Well, I think from the success of your family and just everything that you have, it's just the basics. It's family is the most important. It's the pillar. It's everything, and communication and kindness.
And loving each other. The parents, if they love each other, that I believe is always available or visible to the children.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But if you don't have that, that's tough. And now grandparents, which I feel are critical. I mean, they're really important. My kids have grown. I've brought those up. I've done my work, and now I'm going to travel, or I'm going to do this. That. How satisfying is that? I mean, I'm sorry. That does not sound to me like a good thing.
You know, I know a lot of people like that. That some people can travel and that fulfills them, but some people just rather be with their family. They don't need to travel for that happiness.
Yeah,
inside.
It's just amazing. It's amazing. But I think we go back again to the faith.
Yeah.
You know. Now I've started going to the Methodist Church because it's warm and welcoming, and they're preaching the gospel the way I grew up learning it. And the Catholic Church is like 20 minutes, and it's a rote kind of thing with the present priest. We've had some good priests.
Yes.
So, but that to me does not. That's why there's no young people there.
Yeah.
I mean, these people.
It's true.
It's true.
It is.
I mean, that's why when we took all of our kids to church, and I would make sure that Gordon doesn't punish them for making noise, because I didn't want them to hate the church.
Right.
And so, but they were always, pretty good anyway, knowing that he was right there, But yeah, that's really important, I think.
Yeah.
It is very important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that.
Well, Shamba, do you have anything else you'd like to ask Barbara? I mean, we've covered it all. I feel like
it's just a humbling experience to be sitting with you.
Oh,
Barbara.
You're so sweet.
Thank you.
That's so thank you.
I
tell you,
beautiful, beautiful family story. Absolutely beautiful story. Thank you for being comfortable enough to share it with us.
I know.
I mean,
to be our first one.
First one partaking of this passion project. This is what it's all about, is getting to know, these people that are, huge part of, what makes Stafford great. So thank you very much.
Well, you said something before we got recording about Mr. Dutton, Bruce Dutton, and let's just say 10 years ago, and this is for anybody listening as well, is we did a segment with him where we did videos, and we would go all different parts of town, up to John Julian Memorial up there and everywhere. We would talk about the history, and those are still on YouTube today.
I saw that. I love
16 years later, people can still see Mr. Dutton.
Yep, I watched that one.
Right. So that there is part of why we want to do this here. I could not have expected to do this. This is exactly what I envisioned. Sitting around the kitchen table, just talking. That's what I want. Like, this was the best thing. The first episode. Thank you.
Well,
beautiful.
I mean, things like our oldest son has Parkinson's, and he was diagnosed at age 45. And Mr. Dutton was a friend of his, And when he heard that someone in town had a diagnosis of Parkinson's, he went to visit them. He does that always. Now, he had a little stroke in August, which affected only his eyes, but he can't drive. But he was always there for anyone who had just been diagnosed with the Parkinson's.
That's true.
Yeah, it just because that's the way they were built.
Yeah, that's right.
So they were just so good.
That's right.
And I was a nurse at the hospital for nearly 30 years, and I was the only one the last one especially, that wore the hat.
Oh my God.
Oh,
yes.
So when they had, I retired because Gordon lost his vision in 2001. But I went to the doctor, who's a good friend of ours, and he and his wife, and everyone wore the hat but me. And my own doctor had to tape his to his head because he's kind of bald. But yeah, so those pictures of all, yeah,
I love it.
yeah. So Johnson's been very good to us.
Oh.
Really, really. So
I have to ask, this is a little off topic for the podcast, but did you happen to know a Dorothy Danek by any chance? Who lived on East Street? She used to work at that hospital too. I was just curious.
that name does not sound familiar, but her face might.
Yeah, it was, I want to say she was, I don't know if she married and became Tershman or her maiden name was Tershman, but when she passed, it was Dorothy Danek. I was just curious.
You know, that does not. I took my son to PT yesterday, and there was someone in there from Stafford that worked with me too. She said, "I thought I recognized you."
All these years.
Oh yeah, and so many of them said. I mean, for many years after I retired, they said, "Do you know me?" And I said, "Not without your gown on." You know, and we laugh about it, but yeah, there's so many that, yeah, I held the hands of dying patients. Yeah, it was a great experience. Great. And I only worked part time, like 3 days a week, you know, or the weekend kind. So I was always home, you know, for the children and all.
Absolutely.
But I didn't, she was almost 2 when I went to work, only a couple days a week. So, but my sister-in-law next door took care of her.
Oh, that's see, family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I never would have gone to a babysitter.
No.
No,
No.
I just wouldn't do it.
No.
Understandable. Absolutely. Thank you so much for this.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
You were saying that you had photos. Do we have some time to just like kind of?
Yeah, if we could see, I'd love to see the photo of all 31 of you.
Yeah.
Could we see that photo?
Yeah, just I think it's still on the door in there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. This is.
Look at.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
There's my husband.
Wow. That's impressive.
Oh.
I took a little.
Wow. Oh, look at him.
It's so sweet.